Good evening from rainy Chattanooga, Tennessee. Happy New Year, and I hope everyone has had a peaceful transition into 2017. My name is Jim DePrimo. I'm a member of the Fellowship of Christian Peace Officers, and we are going to be presenting the one-year Bible to all of our law enforcement partners across the country. I am going to be doing a video blog, or a vlog, if you will, every day, and showing you some of the passages that we'll be reading in this one-year Bible. Now, if you decide to read this Bible, you read the passages we assign every day, you'll complete the Bible in 1 year, which is an amazing accomplishment. But I'll be reading some of the verses that mean a lot to me each day, and I'm going to start today, January 1st, with Psalm 1. It's a very basic thought here. And Psalm 1 says, "Oh, the joys of those who do not follow the advice of the wicked, or stand around with sinners, or join in with mockers." So right there, we're seeing Psalm 1 sets the tone for having a positive, even work environment. You know, how many times in police work do we sit around and joke and make fun of and do different things and cut up, you know, sometimes in the name of fun and levity, and sometimes we need to have a sense of humor to get through stressful situations. But the Bible says, "Oh, the joys of those who do not follow the advice of the wicked." So there is that fine line. Are we following the advice of the wicked? In verse 2, "But they delight in the law of the Lord." The law of the Lord, what is that? The law of the Lord is this, the Bible, or whatever version you use. This happens to be the one that I'm going to read this year, the one-year Bible. But if you delight in the law of the Lord, and further, meditating on it day and night. So meditating, kind of like a cow chews cud, constantly bringing the food back up and chewing it and chewing it and chewing it. That is meditating. So it's impossible to meditate on something that you haven't already read. So I would encourage you, if we're going to meditate and we're going to be obedient to the scriptures, we need to be reading the word. And this is not to create a guilt trip and any of that. And I'm not trying to present myself as some holier than thou person, but I would encourage you to do this. In fact, the Bible says further, "They are like trees planted along the riverbank, bearing fruit each season. Their leaves never wither, and they prosper in all they do." I'm not preaching the prosperity gospel, but I will say, if you want to be prosperous, if you want God's blessing on your life, if you want peace, if you want that peace that passes all understanding, then it pays to be obedience. It pays to be in obedience to the word, just to heed it, to listen to it. There are so many nuggets of truth that will help you daily. I don't know what you're going through today. I don't know what you're going to go through tomorrow. You know, we live in a volatile time in law enforcement. I don't have to tell you this. Everything is right in front of us. But if we want to move forward and we want to progress this year and we want to make things better in our lives, then why not humble ourselves before God and be obedient to what He's told us to do? And further on, we're going to talk about the wicked. You know, we've talked about the prosperous being planted like a tree planted by the water. Well, the wicked are not that way. It says, "But not the wicked. They are like worthless chaff scattered by the wind." Now, chaff, that is like wheat, when they're sifting wheat in a wheat field. And they're sifting the real wheat from the chaff, the little stuff that blows away in the wind. And that's what the wicked are like. They blow away in the wind. There's no substance to them. They will be condemned at the time of judgment. So the wicked are going to pay. Sinners will have no place among the godly. There's a clear delineation between a sinner and somebody who's righteous. "For the Lord watches over the path of the godly, but the path of the wicked leads to destruction." So that's both a positive thing for those who choose to be obedient, and it's a negative thing for those who choose to live in sin, for those who choose to follow the path of the wicked. I encourage people around me and even some of my children that we are known by the company we keep. If we're keeping company with people who are not following God, people who are living in sin, maybe pursuing things that aren't in line with the Bible, we will go that direction a lot of times. And so we need to find out who our friends are, find out people who will encourage us, make us better, inspire us, help us to grow as a Christian, help us to learn more about who God is. And that's a challenge this year. Why don't we find out who God is? You know, if there is a God, and we say there is, most of us, but if not, let's find him. Let's find out who God is. Would that not be cool? We can find it right here, right here. It's not a secret. It's not a secret. And I'm going to encourage you to do this, challenge you to do the reading for tomorrow. The reading for tomorrow, you're going to be in Genesis. We'll have some reading in Matthew. You'll have a reading in the Psalms. You'll have a reading in the Proverbs. So you'll have basically 4 different books you're reading, not all of the book. You'll have a few passages there. Today, you know, Genesis 1:1, the creation, my word, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Wow. Talk about that. You know, perfect timing for January 1st. Talking about beginnings. Well, let's make a beginning today. Let's begin to study the Word. Let's begin to read. Find out what the Bible really has to say about things. And I will be throwing in some war stories here and there to make it interesting for all of our law enforcement friends. I've got 23 years of police experience, and I've got a few good stories, and I've got a few that are kind of funny that maybe I wasn't the awesome cop that I thought I was. So you guys have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow.